Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of What's Up with the Universe. I'm your host, Eli Hugh. I want to join everybody who's joining me on the live chat right now, live streaming. And if you rewatch this on a rewatch, welcome anyway. Hey, if you already haven't subscribed, that little subscribe button down below, go ahead and click on it. And ring that little bell that way that way you know when I am live. So, hey. If you haven't already subscribed and you're just randomly searching for What's Up with the Universe, welcome! Here I try to explain a little bit of basic science for everybody. I try not to make things too complicated, and I try to make things a little hilarious sometimes. But hey, who knows? Whatever, hey. We all try to have fun sometimes, so hey. If you guys remember that previously I had a tour of the solar system, how I talked about the planets and a little bit about the moons. Well, we have been talking about the moons themselves, and we're concentrating on the moons. First of all, I want to say hi to Mount Felicium, who's hanging out here in the chat, and Yvette as well, and Geeks and Jordan Erotica. For your free computer needs, find out Geeks and Jordan Erotica and contact LDG, free computer help. Hello, Captain Trek, how's it going? And Yvette, you happen to say your favorite moon of Uranus is Titania? Well, I will be talking a little bit about Titania. And you also said your favorite moon of Neptune is Triton? Well, I will be talking a little bit about Triton. Yes, I will. And we are going to be going here to our moons of Uranus and Neptune today. Let me give you a little recap of a little bit about Neptune, about Uranus first. We're going to go in the order system here. Uranus, it's known as the sideways planet because it just happens to rotate on its side. I know, it's pretty cool, huh? It was discovered in 1781 by William Herschel. It was also the very, very first planet found using a telescope. All the previous planets in our solar system were found using the naked eye. Uranus, pronounced Uranus, not Uranus. It has 27 known moons. Most are basically which are named after literary characters. You know, like Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune. Uranus is a ring planet. Uranus orbits the sun. It's a star. Our sun is a star, and it's the seventh planet from the sun at a distance of about 1.8 billion miles. I mean, it takes Uranus about 17 hours to rotate once a day, and it takes about 84 Earth days to complete an orbit of the sun. That's one Uranian year. It's an ice giant, and it's most of its mass is a hot, dense fluid of icy materials, basically consisting of water, methane, and ammonia, above a small rocky core. The atmosphere is mostly made of hydrogen, molecule hydrogen, and atomic helium, with just a small amount of methane. And no, there's no cows causing that. So far, Voyager 2 is the only spacecraft to fly by Uranus. Yet no other spacecraft has orbited this distant planet to study it at length and up close yet. But more missions are on the way. Uranus, it has 13 known rings. The inner rings are narrow, and the dark and outer rings, they're brightly colored here. Like I said, it has 27 known moons, and the literary characters they're named after come from William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. Now, let me take a nice deep breath and let you know of the moons of Uranus. There is, hopefully I can pronounce them correctly this time. Cordelia, there is Orphelia, Bianca, Chrysadia, Desdemona, Juliet, Portia, Rosalind, Cupid, Belinda, Parditia, it's spelled Perdito. There's the famous little Puck. There's Mab, Miranda, Ariel, Umbra, Titania, Oberon, Francisco, Calderon, Stefano, Trinculo, Sarah Cox, Margaret, Prospero, Setabos, and Exderdinand. Whew, yeah. Yes, it is. It is considered not on the side. It's the sideways planet. uh, uh, Uranus has 5 major moons. They are Miranda, Ariel, Umbra, Titana, and Oberon. I mean, they range from different sizes from about 470 kilometers from Miranda to Titana, which is about 1,600 kilometers. Yep, they range different sizes, so hey. Our first moon we're going to talk about is called Miranda. It is the smallest of the 5 major satellites of Uranus. This is only 300 miles in diameter. Like I said, Voyager 2 was the only spacecraft to actually get close to it. It passed between Miranda and Uranus in 1986, and it actually returned this color composite of the moon on the left-hand side. The carved dark streaks on the surface of the icy moon turn out to be ridges and valleys in a higher resolution images on the right-hand side. Miranda, it was first discovered using telescopic photos of the Uranus system by Gerald Kuiper on February 16, 1948. Yes, the same guy who the Kuiper belt is named after. It was the last moon of Uranus to be discovered prior to Voyager 2 visit in 1986. Miranda, it kind of looks like it's hodgepodge moon, or like it was pieced in different parts that really didn't quite actually go together. I mean, about 500 kilometers in diameter, it's only 1/7 as large as Earth's moon, our main satellite. The little micro asteroids that are circling our planet that are technically moonlets, but it's a size that seems unlikely to support much tectonic activity on the moon itself. Of course, Miranda supports one of the strangest and most varied landscapes among all the extraterrestrial bodies that we have discovered, including basically 3 large features known as coronae. They are unique objects in the solar system. Were all Uranus already covered? I don't know. I got my pants on, so. Ba-doom-bum. Free joke for you, hey. They may not be funny, but hey, who knows? Some people might like it. I know, like my cat, like Joseph's cats. Oh yeah, Miranda. These coronae. They're lightly cratered collections of ridges and valleys, separated from the more heavily cratered and possibly older terrain by sharp boundaries like mismatched patches on a moth-eaten coat. Just imagine that. It's all pitch patchy here. Miranda's giant fault canyons, they're as much as 12 times deep as the Grand Canyon in Arizona. That's deep. The Grand Canyon is on about a mile and a half deep at its deepest point. Of course, due to Miranda's low gravity and large cliffs, a rock drop off the edge of the highest cliff would take a full 10 minutes to reach the foot of the cliff. That's how heavy and dense the moon is. I mean, the surface is not nearly as bright as that of Ariel, which I'm going to talk about. But it is as bright as the larger Uranian moons. I mean, none of them reflect more than about 1/3 of the sunlight that strikes them. Miranda's surface has several tectonic regions that look like raceways called coronae, like I said before. Miranda is basically made of, it's a largely ice with some rocky material closer to its center. And like I said before, Ariel, still like that. Yeah, come on, you can do one. You can do one better, Yoso. Like I said, Ariel here. This moon here was discovered on October 24, 1851 by William Lassell. He was one of England's grand amateur astronomers at the time. He made his fortune in the brewery business to finance his telescope. This is how dedicated he was to his passion. Ariel is the second closest to the planet, orbiting at a distance about 190,000 kilometers. Its orbit, it's a small eccentrically and is very inclined and it is very little relative to the equator of Uranus. It takes about 2.5 days to orbit Uranus itself, coincident with its rotational period. That means that one side of the moon always faces the planet, known as the tidal lock, which we talked about that. The Ariel's orbit itself lies completely inside Uranian. Now you almost talk about Uranus, dude. Jeez, Uranian magnosphere. Yeah, Uranus magnosphere. It's completely inside the magnosphere of the planets. Ariel does have the brightest surface of the 5 largest of the moons, but none of them reflect more than a third of the sunlight that strikes them. Of course, this means that suggested, not proven yet, suggested hypothetical theory that the surfaces have been darkened by a carbonaceous material. I mean, Ariel's brightness, it increases dramatically when it is in its opposition. That is, when the observer is directly between it and the sun. This indicates the surface is basically porous. Hey, guess what, Yvette? We have Titania. Titania, that's how it's pronounced. It happens to be the largest moon of Uranus. Yes, it is. It's also marked by a few large impact basins, but it's generally covered with small craters and very, very, very rough rocks. Titania was discovered by Herschel in 1787. See, Titania, it's Uranus's largest moon. I mean, it takes this image here was taken by Voyager almost 200 years after the discovery. It revealed signs that the moon was geologically active, something we didn't know in the past. A prominent study of the fault valleys, some nearly as almost 1,000 miles long. It's visible near the Terminator shadow line, as you can see. The trowel breaks the crust in 2 directions, is an indication of some tectonic extension of Titania's crust. Of course, despite the highly reflective material on it, which may represent frost, but has not been proven yet, it can also be seen along that sun-facing valley walls there. It's not that big of a moon. It's only about 1,000 miles in diameter. It's also the largest and brightest moon. Like I said, it is the 8th largest moon in the solar system. Love and active moon. Yes, so kind of like Io, huh? Well, if you like that one, check out this one. This is a green and violet images. These were combined to make this photograph. This result is a view of the extended atmosphere of the satellite. The bright orangish ring is being caused by the atmosphere scattering of the incident sunlight. I mean, the bluish outer ring is further evidence of scattering by the submicron-sized particles that extend several hundred kilometers above the main clouds. Umbral is one of my other favorite moons here. It is one of the darkest of the Uranian large moons. Yeah, I know. Some people say, why is your favorite because it's the darkest? Because here's a little, if you look at here's a little top white spot on top, you can actually see it. It's really cool. It has a diameter of about 750 miles. I mean, images taken by Voyager 2 in 86 reveal the curious bright ring about 90 miles in diameter on the moon's dark surface, a little ring of ice up there. That's what I think it is, but it's actually unclear what that ring is. Of course, it may be frost deposited from an impact crater. We don't know. Corin, would you...
Hey, what's happening? This is Corin Nemic. I'm talking to you from my backyard. Just signed up for Cameo app. Sean asked and told me that's what all the cool kids are doing. So I'm just trying to be one of the cool kids. But I am dedicated to this. Dedicated to leaving you a message, no matter what the conditions are. That's why I'm doing this in the rain, to prove to you how serious I am about this. I mean, I will give you a shout out from a train. You know, I'll give a shout out to you while I'm on a plane. I'll give a shout out to you from a car. I'll give a shout out to you from a dive bar. In fact, I heard that David Faustino's on here as well. He said that he was going to give some weird and creepy shout outs, but I challenge him. You want a weird and creepy shout out? Came to the right place, buddy.
Corin, scoot. Scoot. Sheesh, man. That Corin Nemic is always interrupting my show because people are not booking a cameo with him. Jeez. Can you guys please book a cameo with Corin Nemic? The information's down below. Maybe he'll stop interrupting my show, okay? Because I'm trying to talk about some sciencey fun stuff. He's being goofy. I was talking about Oberon. It is the second largest moon of Uranus. And is Titana very similar to Pluto in composition and maybe captured Plutino? Ooh, I still like the word Plutoid, but Plutino's a nice one. Or is it actually one of Neptune's moons? Some of these are believed to be captured. Some of these actually be natural moons that have been formed when the planet was formed. A moon has to get, let me go full screen for you. Actually, explain this better. A moon has to, an asteroid has to get so much compact, about 300 kilometers or so, before it actually gets to its circumference. So some of these outer moons here could have been asteroids that could have been kept on impact and colliding, and they had such gravitational force to actually collide into a spherical form. We don't know yet. We have not actually studied all these moons, so we don't know. Let the Space Martian get his own channel. Who let the Space Martian get his own channel? I'm not from Mars, okay? Is this the one with the frozen nitrogen? I know you were talking about the other one previously. We're not sure exactly what that is, nitrogen, if it's frozen nitrogen, frozen carbon monoxide, if it's frozen H2O. We're not sure yet. There has been future talks about a future mission to the outer moons, but so far nothing has actually been in the works yet. Well, I was talking about Umbral, that's right. wait, was I talking about Umbral? Yeah, I was. Umbral, it has a diameter about 750 miles. This image was taken in 1986 by Voyager 2. Okay, now I think I'm back on track. Thank you, Corin Nemic, for interrupting my show. Sheesh. Oberon. Oberon happens to be the second largest moon of Uranus. It was discovered in 1787. Very, very little was known about this moon until Voyager 2 did a little flyby in 86. They discovered that Oberon is a very heavily cratered moon, similar to Umbral, especially when compared to three other moons of Uranus, Ariel, Titana, and Miranda. Like all of the large moons here, it's composed roughly of half of the ice and half rock. It has at least one large mountain that raises about 6 kilometers off the surface. Yes, I converted metrics for you Europeans. Hope you're nice. It also happens. Oberon also happens to be the furthest from the planets of the major moons, and of course the second largest of them too. It has been said aliens may exist and it is very dangerous around Uranus. Klingons may have been spotted and were proved difficult to remove. Well, if you remember my show about Pioneer 10, the Klingons destroyed in the Kuiper Belt, what were they doing in Federation space? Interesting. It's on one of my videos in the past. You can check it out. Yeah, Oberon, duh. There are some facts about Oberon you might be curious to know. It has a estimated radius of 473 miles. Not the kilometers. I converted back to the us for miles for us Americans who do not use that metric system, which we should. Oberon orbits the planet at about 363,000 miles from Uranus, making it the farthest of the moons. Thank you. Thank you, Yosef. For us metrically challenged friends, yes, we are metrically challenged. Oberon was named after, takes its name from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream for all you Shakespeareans out there. Like many moons of Uranus, it was discovered by William Herschel only 6 years after the discovery of Uranus. That's 6 years. The largest crater discovered on the moon is called Hamlet. Easy to remember because that named after Shakespeare. Of course, you don't want to go there because it's very, very cold. It has an average of minus 224 degrees Celsius. Go ahead and convert that, Yosef. I got that from NASA's. Our next journey, since we talked about Uranus, is Neptune. Yes, Neptune. Let me give you a little brief memorization about Neptune here for a second. Neptune is the outermost of the gas planets of our eighth planet. It has a diameter of about 30,000 miles. I mean, if it was hollow, it could contain nearly about 60 Earths. It orbits the sun about every 165 years. It has 8 moons, 6 which were found by Voyager. A whole day, Neptune, yes. It's called Neptune for a reason, because a day on Neptune is 16 hours and 6.7 minutes. It was discovered on 1846 by Jonathan Godfrey Gallet. Okay, there are 14 moons of Neptune. Yes, I said 14 moons of Neptune. And once again, I'm going to see if I can actually pronounce them correctly. Can I pronounce them? There is Triton, Nereid, Naiad, Thalasseia, Dasphenia, Galatea, Lauricia, Proteus, and Halimeda. Oh, I think I actually did pronounce them correctly. Well, maybe. Wait a minute. I'm not done yet. There's Hippocamp, Lactmos. I did mess up again. I might teach you with phonetically spelling on it too, right here. Laomedia. 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 There's Neso, Psamathe, Psamathe, and Sao, Sao. Whew, okay. I knew I was going to mess that up for some reason. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of these moons here. Let's start with Triton. Let's take a look at Triton here. Triton, yes, oh, by the way, mountains, yes, it is believed that Neptune does have the fastest winds in the universe. It does. I forgot the actual wind speed, but it's like 1,200 miles an hour. You can look that up if you want. Yes, fast winds in the solar system. Yeah, woohoo! Go fly a kite, Charlie Brown. No trees anywhere. Oh yeah, Triton. You get me off Sand Mountains. Triton. It was discovered in 1846 by William Lassell, of course, 17 days after the discovery of Neptune. It's the largest of the 13 moons. It's very unusual because it's the only large moon in our solar system that orbits in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation, in a retrograde orbit. Scientists think that Triton is a Kuiper Belt object captured by Neptune's gravity millions of years ago. Like your question was earlier, could it be a captured asteroid? We don't know yet. They think it is. Of course, like our own moon and other moons, it's entirely locked with Neptune. Some of Triton's little moon facts you may be interested to know is Titan has a radius of 841 miles, making it Neptune's largest moon. You was wrong, mountains. It's always important when somebody in science admits they're wrong, or talking about science when they admit they're wrong. Yes, when you're wrong, you're wrong. That's science. Triton, it's not that much smaller than the moon, our own moon. It's about half the size. Let's see. Like other large moons in the solar system, it has its own atmosphere. Albeit very thin, very, very small, thin, like Pluto's. Of course, the atmosphere of Triton is mainly made up of nitrogen. Scientists think it has one of the youngest surfaces of any moon, probably about 5 to 6 million years old. Of course, there are not many craters in Triton. Due to this, of course, the largest crater is quite sizable with about a 27-kilometer diameter. It's named Mazokamba. One of the next moons is called Pasame. Oh, yeah, I've got a little orbit here. I forgot all about that. I have a little animation for you guys. Damn it. Okay, you guys can see the animation. But we have passed them here. This little moonlet, and I still like the word moonlet. It was discovered, this right here, it's so distant basically from Neptune, it takes almost 26 Earth years to make one single orbit around the planet. This moon's orbit right here is among the most distant from any planetary system that we know in our own solar system. Of course, this moon shares similar orbital parameters with other moons of Neptune like Neso. Both Uranus and Neptune may be fragments from breakup from a larger moon billion years ago. They may be captured capable objects. We still do not know much about these outer moons yet, and NASA needs to do some more explorations. These images right here on your screen, they show the discovery of this the Neptune, taken about 38 minutes apart with the Subaru 8.3 meter telescope atop of Mount Kilauea in Hawaii. Another one of the moons is called Hippocamp. Yes, it's called Hippocamp, not Hippocampe, Hippocamp. And no hippos are camping out. They're making a lot of poo with their mess. So it's not like bears. They're a lot cleaner anyway. This composite Hubble telescope picture that's on your screen, it shows the location of Hippocamp. It was originally called S-2004 and 1. It's a very, very tiny moon. It's about 12 miles across. This moon was actually missed by Voyager 2. Yeah. A couple of the moons that were discovered by Voyager also appeared in the 2009 image along with a circumplanetary structure known as ring arcs. Yeah, hippopotamus. Technically, like I said before, a moon is something that orbits the planet in not a retrograde orbit, but a stable orbit. Saturn has the most moons because it has little icy bodies called rings. But technically, I know. Technicalities, go figure. Like I said, it's very, very small moon. It originally, basically, when it was discovered by Mark Shallowater, he found this. He found that this image right here was very, very odd because he plotted a circular orbit for the moon, which did not appear to be coincided with the other moons. I have to give Mark Showalter credit for this. Sorry. Still a great scientist. This is out of what he saw right here. One of the next moons is called Nereid. Nereid. It was discovered in 1949 by Gerald P. Kuiper. Yes, the same guy with the Kuiper belt. It was actually used a ground-based telescope. Basically, that whenever I say ground-based telescope, I mean backyard telescope. You can go to the store, get a nice telescope with like a 90 millimeter aperture. You can spot some planets, some strange asteroids. Backyard telescope. This is what a ground-based telescope means. Sometimes I use technical terms. Sometimes I use generic terms. Nereid is one of Neptune's outermost known moons, and it is among the largest. Sorry, already something just popped in here. I want to say hi. Hey, Kai! I haven't seen you yet, dude. Sorry, once I had Kai. I kind of got distracted there. Okay, yeah, Nereid. It's unique because it has one of the most eccentric orbits of any moon in our solar system. It's so far out from Neptune that it requires 360 Earth days to make one orbit. This odd orbit here, it suggests that Nereid may be a captured asteroid or a Kuiper belt object, or it was greatly disturbed during the capture of Neptune's largest moon, Triton. Or it could have been just a disturbed captured object as well, like I just said. Our last moon we're going to talk about is called Proteus. Proteus was discovered in 1989 by Voyager 2. I mean, this is an unusual since a smaller moon. Nereid was discovered 33 years after using an Earth-based telescope. Proteus was most likely overlooked because it is so dark and the distance between Earth and Neptune is so great. It is happened to be one of the largest of Neptune's moon, although it's not as big as Triton. The moon has an oddball-like shape, and if it's just a little more mass, we'd be able to transform it into a sphere. Like I stated, it has to go through about a certain amount, like 300 kilometers. Proteus is in a regular shape and heavily cratered, but it does not show any signs of geological modification, meaning which this is not an active body. It circles the same planet in the same direction as Neptune rotates. Of course, Proteus remains close to Neptune's equatorial plane, which means it orbits around the center body of it. It is one of the darkest objects in our solar system. Like Saturn's moon Phoebe, Proteus reflects only 6% of the sunlight that it actually hits. You know, I want to thank everybody for joining me today, but next week we have a special surprise. We have a special guest on our show next week because when we talk about the moons here, there is going to be a very special show next week. February 18th, Countdown to Mars. Yes, Countdown to Mars. Perseverance is landing on Mars with the helicopter Intrepid. And I will be having a special show next Thursday, February 18th, 10 a.m. We're going to start talking about show of Mars, and around 11 a.m. I'm going to be talking about the landing itself.
Joker.
Sorry, wrong button. Yeah, I'm a joker. So I want to thank everybody for joining me.